My tale begins like so many others. The year is 2086 in the future and robots are our friends. But then it all changed. Our cyborg king turned against us. Technology could no longer be trusted and they plotted to destroy Paradise City, the most technologically advanced city in the galaxy. This was the last time I would ever see my home. Futuristic monsters have taken over the world that we once knew, forcing civilization from its once vibrant homes into small colonies. I have 3 goals. My first, to rebuild civilization. Second, to attain full mecha armor and laser weapons. Third, kill the Cyber King for a tier 3 hoverboard. I'm going to attempt to survive 100 days in the future in hardcore Minecraft. I'm the coffee fuel genius. Can I achieve my goals? Let's find out. Day 1. Lost in the futuristic plains. Our journey begins.
Oh, looks like an abandoned colony. Let's go check it out.
I hesitantly entered the abandoned city, hopping over the ravine.
Nice.
I was hoping to find some juicy loot to help me on my futuristic journey. I was looking for anything that could help me rebuild civilization. I searched high and low to find things, but I didn't have much luck. So I decided to head out and try and get some wood to craft the basics. But I encountered a problem. I couldn't even craft planks. The wood was dead. Technology no longer needs nature. This was going to be difficult. I decided to head deeper into the abandoned city in hopes to find live wood, but I had no luck until this moment. I came across an old preservation center, so I grabbed a bunch of dirt and built my way up and headed in. I couldn't believe it. A biome filled with nature. It gave me hope for mankind. Life was thriving here. I grabbed a bunch of wood and then I made a crafting table. And once I made the crafting table, I made a full set of wooden tools. I then came across a chicken hiding in the bushes. Finally, some food. It was just too quiet. A rogue cyborg was coming after me, so I gave it everything I had, striking it down. The mechanical zombie was taken care of, so I grabbed some more food, but it wasn't over. More cyborgs and robots were coming after me. I tried looking for an escape, but I was met with the futuristic plains smothered in robotics. There was no way I could survive. So instead, I grabbed some more resources, killed some food, and then almost lost my life fighting a robot spider. But I survived. It was time to head underground. This was too dangerous. Heading underground, I was met with futuristic blocks, but I couldn't mine them. So instead, I grabbed stone, iron, and coal and made myself some stone tools and cooked up my food. I guess I was here for the night. I made myself an iron sword as well. Look at this. Great progress made in just a few days. No time to waste. I grabbed my resources and headed back up. Grabbed some more food and headed out into the plains. I thought my best bet was to make a jump into the water, so here goes nothing. Turns out the water was poisonous. This could be it. This is where it could all end.
No. Gotta eat.
The poison wore off pretty quickly. Whew, that was a pretty close one, but I was still surrounded by cyborgs and the night's enemies. This was gonna be a long night. After battling the robots all night, I dedicated some time to grabbing resources, coal, iron, and more cobblestone. It wasn't easy, but with a tactical mindset, I survived the night. During my exploration, I came across a robotic chicken. These things are amazing. Why, you ask? It's because they contain circuitry, and with circuitry, I can craft the tech pickaxe and the tech sword, making me even stronger, so I can survive ambushes like this. Cyborgs can survive the high temperatures, so these guys were more of a challenge than ever before. After calculating my moves, I turned around and struck back at the cyborgs chasing me, taking both their lives. That was a close one. I was feeling pretty unstoppable, but we had to keep moving to rebuild civilization. I continued deeper into the futuristic plains and came across a bunch of sheep, so I crafted some shears and grabbed as much wool as possible so I could make a bed. This was huge. Also, the trees were alive here, so I grabbed as much wood as possible and crossed my fingers for a sapling. And I got one step closer to rebuilding the colony. I also came across another preservation center, but this time with buildings inside. So I snuck in, tackling the enemies. I carefully attacked these guys. One wrong move and it's all over. One explosion and my life can be taken. I dedicated some time to clear the area. I could hear villagers, but instead I was met with robotic skeletons. This was a challenge, but with perseverance I took them both out. It was time to find those villagers. I could hear them, but I couldn't see them. Until this moment. He was being attacked by a robotic skeleton, so after taking his life, the villager asked me to save the others inside. So I headed in. The villager asked me to clear the basement, so I grabbed the brewing stand and bookshelf I found and then cleared out the cyborgs. But it wasn't an easy task. I got to work. I destroyed the first cyborg, making my way through the corridor to take on the second. This was going to be a challenge. I was taking these robot fiends on left, right, and center, clearing the basement of all robotic danger. We don't mess around in the future. It was time to continue with my goals. I decided to rebuild the colony here. This is where I would make all of my futuristic builds and technology. I am going to bring back mankind. This is gonna be fun. I put together a very, very small makeshift build so I had somewhere to sleep for the night, crafted a bed, and got some rest. Big things were on their way, however, I had a lot of work to do in the meantime, so I cooked up my ores, stored things in chests, and then crafted a full set of iron armor. Look at that view, it's pretty neat, I'm not gonna lie. I sweeped the area of cyborgs so it was a little bit safer. I then started working on my strip mine. I wanted to head down and get a bunch of ores. Whilst mining, I came across the advanced creeper. Look at these guys, they don't explode, but they're super fast, and when they catch you, they'll take half your hearts. They're just so intimidating. I mean, look at his face! But I took him out pretty quickly. I then continued mining for days. For what I had planned, I would need excessive amounts of ores. So I got to work, collecting blue lapis, purple, iron, redstone, all the ores required to craft technology. I drilled deeper and deeper into the futuristic depths in my hunt for those beautiful diamonds. And yep, you guessed it, I finally found them. Oh, my most favorite thing of all time. Thank goodness. This was crucial to rebuilding the future. If you're a fan of the channel, you know how much I love strip mining for ores. So I continued doing this for literally days, and I found plenty of what I need. And then it was time to head back up. It was time to head back up and start smelting all of the ores I had collected. The next day, I crafted the tech sword, a heavy sword that does a lot of damage. I then crafted the exosuit helmet, which added a little bit of toughness to my armor. I then got to work smelting up all my ores and storing all of the things that I had collected. It was time to start building automated machinery. There was no way I was going to craft the mecha suit without it, so I made myself a diamond chainsaw and got to work collecting resources. Time to get to work. I chopped down a bunch of wood and finally had enough to craft the wood gear, and with wooden gears I could make stone gears, and stone gears make iron gears, and iron gears make gold gear. You get what I'm trying to say here. I then killed a bunch of cyborgs and then finally crafted the quarry, a vital piece of machinery I would need to continue my journey. I placed the quarry down, but I was far from finished. I needed glass to craft the engines, and for that I'd have to go exploring the futuristic plains, so I headed out. Whilst running, I was thinking about the laser guns and mecha armor I would need to fight the Cyborg King. My tech sword came in clutch when exploring the dangerous futuristic plains, and it was pretty rewarding too. I found a chest filled with loot and some automated bookshelves. I continued exploring the abandoned town on my hunt for sand. But then I encountered a problem. A robot had hunted me down and I was so close to sand. I had to think on my feet. I made a temporary base, crafted a laser bow, and then took all of the cyborgs out, making space to destroy the robot. Finally, I headed over and grabbed a bunch of sand, and then I heard this chicken asking everybody to subscribe. Hello, that's my job. So anyway, subscribe, please. It really helps me out. I then headed home, smelted up all my sand, and finally crafted the Sterling engine. It was time to start putting it all together, so I made a couple of redstone torches, a chest, and then a bunch of piping. I think this would work. No, I need to place the redstone torch. So I placed all of the pipes, sorted out the filters, and then finally got it working. Look at this, it was clearing the area. I was so excited. This thing is so satisfying to watch. Man, I was so excited. One step closer to full mecha armor. Ooh, it's gonna be so much fun. Whilst we chill out and watch the quarry, I just want to say one thing. Can you guys comment what you like so much about my videos? It would really help me out. Also, I just want to say a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. But enough of that, it's time to continue working. The automated machinery was taking its time, and I just didn't want to sit around and do nothing. So I made a few adjustments to the machinery, then crafted a chisel. This would allow me to make some really beautiful futuristic blocks. So then it got me thinking, now's the time to start rebuilding my colony, making buildings for villagers to sleep in. So without further ado, you guessed it, it was time to start building. You can probably guess that this is my home. This is one of the most flashiest things I think I've ever had in my life, and I was feeling pretty proud of it. I then got to work filling the insides with all the necessities to continue my survival. Look at us go! After this, I then planted a bunch of tree saplings and then took a look at my quarry, but then I punched a sheep down there, which I felt pretty bad about. So, one like equals one prayer? Yeah, let's do that. I then took a look at all of the ores that the quarry was missing. I then made a few adjustments to my house with the chisel, which I thought made it look really futuristic and really nice. But the quarry was still taking its time. So you know what that means? Time to keep on building! I was pretty happy with the first house that I had created, so I got a good night's rest and then carried on in the morning. As you can see, I am constructing a small town, maybe 3 or 4 buildings which would allow me to move the villagers in and start working on rebuilding civilization. I was pretty proud of the work that I put in. After this, I got to work joining all of the builds together with paths, and I had a bunch of marble. That quarry came in clutch for resource collection. Pretty happy with this, not gonna lie. I sure hope my villager friends like it. The mecha suit and laser guns were just around the corner, but in the meantime, I just wanted to take a look around and make sure everything was okay. I then looked at the quarry to see if it collected the correct amount of resources, and oh boy, it did. It was time to head into my home, chill out while my ores smelt, it's a pretty bouncy bed, and then finally craft all of the components to, you guessed it, make the full set of mecha armor. I was so excited to put this bad boy on. Look at me, look how cool I look. However, modular power suits do require the tinker table, so I crafted said item and then got to work customizing it a little bit just so it looked, you know, a little bit cooler. I then crafted a bunch of diamond plates and installed it in my power suit, making me pretty strong. But I wanted to upgrade it further, and for that, I'd need to head to the nether to get some blaze rods. It's about to get intense. I cleared the area of cyborgs and robots, then headed down to try and get some obsidian. Whilst down there, I wanted to check out the fire resistance of my modular power suit, and man, it did not disappoint. Look at this. It takes ages before my suit overheats and gives out. I'm like chilling out in a lava jacuzzi over here. This would make the nether way more bearable, and taking on those blazes a lot easier. I then found a water source and got to work mining it up. Whilst mining for obsidian, I was thinking about my Discord and how active it is at the moment, so maybe you should go and check it out. I don't know, I'm trying to plug myself here. I then headed back home, crafted a flint and steel, moved my quarry over a little bit to make it more efficient, and then crafted the obsidian portal. Obsidian portal? Wait a minute, it's a nether portal. I covered it in cybernetic technology and lit that bad boy up. It was time to head in. I made myself a diamond sword and entered futuristic hell. This place was absolutely horrific. I had to act quickly, so I built a small structure around my nether portal to keep it protected, and then headed deep into the nether. I came across a bunch of different ores. I then discovered the Cyborg King's army was plotting something here, so I had to take them on and take them out. These guys were extremely quick, but nothing could stop me. I headed deeper into the nether, collecting glowstone and fighting the Cyborg King's army. The nether was no cakewalk, and after a few days, I finally found the nether fortress. I sneakily entered the terrible fortress and went hunting for loot, and I got pretty lucky. I even came across cybernetic technology that would allow me to modify my bone structure with netherwart. Look at this. This would improve my chances of survival incredibly. However, I'd need more components, and I don't have time right now, so I had to keep moving, taking on wither skeletons, and I finally found the blaze spawner. I battled the army of blazes. My modular power suit was keeping me cool while I was taking on waves and waves of these fiery blazes. I was collecting blaze rod left, right, and center. It was time to head back. I traveled through gory, fleshy biomes and the deep, dark nether, and then I finally made it back to my nether portal. Crazy few days. It was time to get some rest. The next morning I sorted out everything I collected and then I planned on upgrading my mecha armor. But then I heard a strange sound from above my base. It sounded like a hoverboard. There he was! It was the Cyber King, flying over my base! There he was, the Cyber King, the cause of all of this. I had to get my revenge. It was time. So I headed back into my base, used the blaze powder to upgrade my mecha armor, and obtain a plasma cannon. I grabbed some sleep and then headed out, tackling the Cyber King's army as they attacked me. I'd have to move my villagers into the colony another time. It just wasn't safe. I headed out searching for the Cyber King's lair for days, but then I finally found it. Here it was, lathered in cybernetic technology and security cameras. He knew I was coming, but I headed in anyway. There seemed to be a floating card. It was a trap, but I had to go. It was time to fight the Cyber King. I activated the card and teleported to his lair. I left the teleportation chamber and was met with the Cyber King. There he was. He started firing plasma blasts at me. I had to do my best to dodge the shots to survive. He then activated a lever, which opened 2 doors, sending the Cyber King's army after me. The first wave of cyborgs wasn't too difficult, and when I took them all out, it damaged the Cyber King's health. He then started firing plasma charges and then sent another wave of creeper robots, but I took them on, damaging his health. After another wave of cyber charges, he was infuriated. He sent an incredibly large wave of robots, cyborgs, and genetically modified zombies to take me out. They were doing some serious damage, but I took them on with my technology sword. My mecha armor's upgrades powered up and I was feeling pretty invincible, taking on waves after waves of the Cyber King's army. I then ate a golden apple and took on the final wave of robots. The Cyber King was so angry he chased me, and with an explosion, I defeated him and obtained my tier 3 hoverboard. We'd done it! We took out the Cyber King. This thing is so fun to fly around. I was feeling so happy. It was time to head home with my hoverboard. I still had to work on my colony to achieve my final goal. I headed home and took one last look at the hoverboard. Look how cool this thing is. I then grabbed some sleep because tomorrow is villager day. So now it's time to get the villagers from here to my base. This is going to be really, really fun. I can already tell this is going to be a massive pain. I created a sort of staircase that would make its way down to one of the houses, and then I went and made a bunch of rails on a minecart and started connecting the rails together. But my rail building skills are just terrible. Like, for some reason, I just couldn't work out how this is going to work. And then I eventually got there, gave it a little test, and then went ahead and tried to grab a villager. But my goodness me, this guy just would not get inside the minecart. I have no idea why. So I had to think on my feet. So I thought I'd just ride the minecart myself. You know, at least it'll get some use. Yo, this is actually really fun. I don't know why the villager didn't want to do this. I grabbed some sleep and then the next day I brought a boat and I had much more success. The villager finally climbed into the boat and I made my way down very carefully to the bottom. I did a little bit of terraforming, made space for the boat, and then moved them in. Look how happy they are. I think they're happy. They don't talk a lot. I guess I just have to move the rest in. But you haven't got to watch that. I'm going to go and do that right now. What a crazy futuristic journey. If you enjoyed the video, please click that like button and comment below. It really helps me out on the old algorithm. As always, I've been the Coffee Fuel Genius. Peace, love, and positivity, baby. Peace.